Now, Kevin, to kick this one to you, just how significant was this trade that involved Davante Adams going to the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, like everybody else, immensely shocked. Something that threw me for an absolute loop. And I know that, Kyle made the point when we made our predictions on whether or not he would stay. He did call Aaron staying in Green Bay, and he did call Davante leaving because obviously financially they weren't going to be able to suit both of them. And, obviously with rumors coming out that they were going to tag him, he refused to sign on the tag. And then they offered him $23 million a year, and he declined and said, I'm not going to play on this deal. Um, I'm not even kidding. The fact that he was traded to the Raiders didn't really make much sense to me because they're not as good as Green Bay was. Derek Carr is not as good as Aaron Rodgers is. I get it. It's all about the money, especially for younger players. I can't even say like younger players because Aaron Rodgers wants the bag and he went and chased out 45 million a year as a quarterback. So they just seem like very too selfish and too self-centered individuals chasing money rather than winning. And at the end of the day, I mean, good for them. I don't necessarily see this making a difference because they're just going to double and triple team. Because, I mean, yes, Hunter Renfrow is a great talent, and Darren Waller is arguably, when healthy, one of the best tight ends in football. But without a consistent run game, Josh Jacobs hasn't necessarily been healthy. Derek Carr has not been necessarily known to be able to carry a consistent play throughout an entire season. They have no postseason wins, obviously, so this is going to be basically Davante Adams taking a step back, in my professional opinion, because at least Green Bay is going to get you to the divisional bare minimum with a good record and give you an opportunity to compete later into the postseason. So I don't know what they're going to do here. I don't know how this is going to make them better in the sense of how they're going to be able to advance. I know that Davante Adams brings a whole different dynamic to an offense, but again, just I don't have faith in Derek. And then at the end of the day, as well, I think that Green Bay didn't get paid enough. I mean, honestly, like Kyle said, this is arguably a top receiver in the league, and they only got a first this year and a second this year. That's it. Somebody in the prime of their career, someone that plays this consistent, this hard, that puts up numbers the way that he does, should have bare minimum got at least two or three first round picks, in my opinion. But again, it's a wide receiver. So I mean, I guess I understand it, but I mean, kudos to Vegas for pulling it off. I think Shefty reported about 2, 3 hours ago that Aaron Rodgers has not officially signed his contract yet. So rumors are kind of spiraling right now, saying that now that Davante is gone, is Aaron going to put pen to paper?
Well, when I look at Davante going to the Las Vegas Raiders, I think it's an immediate upgrade to their wide receiver core. When you add somebody like Davante Adams's caliber, I mean, that's going to be a dangerous situation in that wide receiver core. And really, any sort of opposing defense is going to have their hands full, knowing that you have to defend Davante Adams, who's arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. Hunter Renfrow is one of the best slot receivers in the NFL at this current moment in time. He really had an up and coming year and really stood out for the Raiders this past season. And Darren Waller, despite the fact that he did kind of tail off towards the second half of the season, he was one of Derek Carr's most favorite targets on a consistent basis last year and then the earlier parts of this past season. And you can't slight on Darren Waller because he is one of the best tight ends in the game just because he is an absolute target machine. Now, when I look at Vegas, I think Vegas had to make this move simply just because when you look at the AFC West as a whole right now, that entire division is reloading at an unbelievable clip. Just because when you look at the Los Angeles Chargers, they added some great defensive pieces like Khalil Mack and JC Jackson. Denver added Russell Wilson into the fold to go alongside some up and coming studs like Jerry Judy, Javante Williams, Tim Patrick. Those are some really good assets that Denver has in the fold to go along with a really stout defense. And then you got KC, who has pretty much owned the AFC West the last couple years. And they've been basically unstoppable just with Patrick Mahomes and the success that the Kansas City Chiefs have had since he's been the starting quarterback for them. So with the Raiders are now in the mix. I mean, the Raiders were a playoff team this past season, and that was despite the fact they had so much turmoil with losing John Gruden as their head coach last season. They had the Damon Arnett situation, that they had the Henry Ruggs situation. They were still able to make the playoffs, and they had a competitive game against the Bengals in that wild card round. Now you're going into next season with Davante Adams linking up with Derek Carr once again. They were college teammates before they both went to the NFL. And I imagine that they're going to be able to reignite that chemistry fairly quickly because they'll have an entire offseason to get that ready to go. Now, granted, I don't know if it's going to be as stout as the chemistry that Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams had, but still, I think that's going to be a very great relationship that Derek Carr and Davante are going to be able to establish and carry on for the foreseeable future in Vegas. Overall, when you look at Josh McDaniels has only been there for a couple of weeks as the new head coach for the Vegas Raiders. But this is really one way to establish yourself as the new head coach to bring in someone like Davante Adams. He is clearly the number one wide receiver for this team. And then to go alongside Hunter Renfro and Darren Waller, this offense has the potential to be very scary. And honestly, they need to be just to stay at pace with the rest of the AFC West. Because offensively, they got to deal with the Chiefs, who got Patrick Mahomes. They got to deal with the Chargers, who have Justin Herbert, and they got Russell Wilson to deal with in Denver. So when you look at the grand scheme of what the AFC West currently is right now, it's unbelievably loaded. And with the Raiders making this move, I'm in full agreement. They needed to make this move, and I'm glad that they were able to secure one of the best wide receivers in the market. Honestly, probably the best wide receiver in the game. And this puts them right in the fold to be in a very competitive AFC West next season. That's just how I see it.